Until 6 months ago, I thought my home was the one thing in life I could count on. I had built it from the ground up, not just the mortgage and the drywall, but the sense of peace, love, and routine within it. I had a stable job in IT, a smart and kind wife named Elena, 2 kids who adored me, and a rhythm to life that felt earned. Then my brother arrived, and with him, a storm I never saw coming. His name is Travis. My younger brother by 3 years, same blood, opposite everything else. He was always the charming one, the type who could talk his way into a party and out of a consequence. We weren't exactly close growing up, but we weren't estranged either. Just different. It started with a late-night phone call. "Marcus, man, I lost my job. The restaurant closed, they shut down everything. I've got nowhere to go." His voice was cracked and low. I'd never heard him sound scared before. "Come stay with us," I said without thinking. "Just for a few weeks. Until you figure it out." Elena raised an eyebrow when I told her, but she agreed. "It's your brother," she said. "But let's keep it short. If only we knew." Travis showed up 2 days later with a duffel bag and an oversized grin. The kids were thrilled. He was the fun uncle, the one who knew TikTok dances and let them eat dessert before dinner. At first, it was easy. He slept on the couch, said thank you a lot, helped with dishes, and even offered to drive the kids to school if I had an early meeting. "I owe you big time, Marcus," he kept saying. "Just need a few weeks to get back on my feet." 3 weeks passed. Then 4. Then 6. He wasn't job hunting anymore. Not seriously. He'd send out the occasional application but spent most of his time sleeping in, binge-watching shows, or networking on social media. I came home one night and found him in my chair, reclined back with a beer in hand and the kids curled up beside him. Elena was in the kitchen, laughing at something he'd said. Something tightened in my chest. Then it got worse. He started making comments. Innocent, at first. "Man, you're lucky Elena's so patient. If I were her, I'd be mad you're always working late. She said the garage door's been squeaking for a week. You should take a look, bro. Lily said I'm better at bedtime stories than you. Guess I've still got the magic touch." He always said it with a smile. A joke. A wink. But they were needles wrapped in velvet. And Elena, she started laughing more at his jokes than mine. Sitting a little closer on the couch. Saying things like, "Your brother really connects with the kids. It's sweet. Sweet." That word started to feel like poison. The tipping point came on a Sunday night. I had come home from a weekend work trip, tired but excited to be back. I walked in to find Travis wearing one of my sweatshirts, flipping pancakes on the stove. Elena was leaning against the counter, sipping coffee like it was a scene from a rom-com. "Morning, Marcus," Travis said. "Thought I'd let you sleep in. Took the kids to the park earlier. Gave Elena a break. My daughter ran in, hugging my leg. Uncle Travis took us for ice cream. He says I'm his favorite." I looked around my own kitchen and realized, for a few moments, maybe longer, he had replaced me. I laughed it off. Said thank you. Ate the pancakes. But inside, something broke open. That night, I told Elena, "We need to talk about Travis." She hesitated. "He's trying, Marcus. He just needs time." "No," I said. "He's not trying. He's getting comfortable. And he's stepping into shoes that aren't his." Her silence said more than words. And that was the moment I realized, if I didn't act soon, I wasn't just going to lose my brother. I might lose my place in my own family. The day after that conversation with Elena, something in me clicked. Not with anger. Not even with jealousy. But with fear. Fear that I'd let this go too far. That my silence, my attempts to be polite and reasonable, had created a vacancy that Travis had gladly filled. I came home early from work the next day. I'd told my boss I had family issues, and for once, that wasn't an exaggeration. When I walked through the door, the house felt wrong. The lights were dimmed. Jazz played softly through the Bluetooth speakers. Travis was at the dining table, my dining table, helping Lily with homework while Owen scribbled on construction paper. He was wearing my zip-up jacket. And Elena? In the kitchen, laughing at something he'd said. Again. "Hey, Marcus," she said casually, turning around. "Travis just made dinner. I hope you don't mind. He's actually a really great cook." "I don't mind," I said, but my voice was flat. I watched the scene play out like I was a guest in my own life. At dinner, Travis held court like he'd always belonged there. He talked about his plans to start a podcast, about manifesting opportunities, about how being unemployed gave him time to reconnect with what mattered. He winked at Elena when he said that. After the kids went to bed, I pulled Travis aside. "We need to talk," I said. He raised an eyebrow. "Everything okay, man? You've been here over a month. You're wearing my clothes. You've been acting like this is your house." He laughed. "Dude, relax. I'm helping. Everyone's happier. You've even been less stressed lately." "No, Travis. I'm not relaxed. You've crossed every line." He tilted his head, like I'd just spoken in a foreign language. "I'm family, Marcus." I thought that meant something. "It does," I said. "Which is why I didn't kick you out when I should have, but this ends now." He narrowed his eyes. "You sure you're not just jealous? The kids love me. Elena talks to me. Maybe you should ask yourself why that is." That hit harder than a punch. "Get out," I said quietly. His jaw tightened. "You're serious?" "Yeah," I nodded. "I'll give you a week to figure it out. But this isn't your home. Not anymore." That night, Elena and I barely spoke. I wasn't sure if she was angry or just processing. But 2 days later, she came into our bedroom after putting the kids to bed. "You were right," she said softly. I looked up. "I've let him overstay. I should have backed you up." I exhaled, the breath shaking. "Did he ever? I mean, was there anything between you two?" She sat beside me. "No. But I can't lie and say the attention didn't feel nice. You've been distant, Marcus. Busy. Exhausted." I nodded slowly. "I know. But I was working hard for all of this. For us." "I know," she said. "But we stopped feeling like us." We sat in silence, letting the weight of that settle. Then she added, "Let's fix it. Together." The week went by painfully slow. Travis didn't cause a scene. He didn't apologize either. He packed his things quietly, made the kids breakfast one last time, and left with a half-hearted handshake. I watched his car pull out of the driveway and felt something between relief and grief. He was still my brother. But he'd crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. In the days that followed, I reclaimed my home one room at a time. I took the kids to the park without checking my phone. I made Elena dinner and didn't talk about work once. We played board games. We laughed again. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. And it was ours. After Travis left, the silence felt heavier than his presence ever did. There was no music echoing through the house during dinner. No unexpected bursts of laughter from the living room. No one dropping clever one-liners to get the kids giggling during bedtime. Just us, the family he'd almost replaced. Elena busied herself with cleaning. Not just tidying, but deep scrubbing. Like she was trying to wipe away every trace of him. She didn't say much that first weekend. Neither did I. We danced around the subject, careful not to make things worse. Until one night, I found her sitting on the porch with a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, staring at the dark lawn. I brought out 2 mugs of tea. Sat beside her. I didn't see it happening, she said. How easy it was to slip into comfort with someone who wasn't carrying the same weight. I nodded. He had no responsibilities. Just charm. And time. She turned toward me. But I don't want charm. I want the man who holds this family together, even when it wears him down. I swallowed. I didn't realize how far I'd drifted. I thought I was doing the right thing, working, providing, keeping everything together behind the scenes. And I let myself get lonely, she admitted. I didn't try hard enough to reach you. There, in the quiet night, we stopped pretending we were okay, and started becoming okay again. The next few weeks were slow healing. The kids missed their uncle, but they adjusted. I was more present, not perfect, but trying. I started getting home earlier, skipping weekend overtime, taking real interest in bedtime routines again. One night, Lily tugged on my sleeve. "Daddy, you're smiling more." That simple sentence stayed with me. At work, I finally told my boss that my family needed me in more ways than my paycheck did. To my surprise, he understood. Even offered more flexible hours. At home, I apologized again to Elena, not for letting Travis stay, but for letting myself drift so far that someone else had room to walk in. She forgave me. Slowly. But completely. Then, one afternoon, I got a text from Travis. "Hope you're good. Found a room with a friend. Just wanted to say thanks. No hard feelings." I stared at the message for a while. No hard feelings. The truth? I did have hard feelings. But I also had love. He was still my brother, even if he had crossed every boundary I'd drawn. So I replied. "Take care of yourself. And don't come back unless you know what respect means." He didn't respond. And maybe that was for the best. Months passed. We celebrated Elena's birthday at home with homemade cake and clumsy decorations. Lily's science project won second place at school, and Owen lost his first tooth. Life moved forward, not forgetting, but healing. One night, as we curled up on the couch, Elena looked at me and whispered, "You came back to us." I kissed her forehead. "I never meant to leave." She smiled. "But now you're choosing to stay." And I was. Every day, in the little things, from making lunches to late-night talks, from stepping into my role fully to drawing clear lines that no one could cross again. This house was mine. This family was mine. And I wouldn't lose either again. I thought it was over. I thought Travis was a chapter closed, a lesson learned, a warning I would carry like a scar. But closure, I've realized, doesn't always come when you think it does. And some shadows don't stay outside. It started with little things. A voicemail, no words, just static and breathing. A random message from an unknown number. "Bet the kids miss me." Then Elena mentioned seeing someone who looked like Travis near Owen's school. She brushed it off. Probably just someone who looked like him. I didn't. The following day, I drove a different route home from work. At a stoplight 3 blocks from our house, I saw him, Travis. Sitting on a bench, hoodie pulled over his head, watching cars roll by. I pulled over. He looked up, unsurprised. "Marcus," he said like we were catching up for coffee. "What the hell are you doing here?" I kept my voice low, but my pulse was pounding. "Just in the neighborhood," he replied, with that same old smirk. You know, checking on my favorite niece and nephew. They're not your kids, Travis. And this isn't your family. Something shifted in his eyes, a flicker of resentment, or maybe pain. You took everything, he muttered. I blinked. Took. You moved into my home. You tried to take my place. He stood up slowly. No, Marcus. I reminded them what it felt like to laugh. You were so busy playing hero, you forgot to be human. I stepped forward. You're not welcome near my house. Near my wife. Near my kids. He raised his hands mockingly. Relax, man. I'm not here to steal your throne. I just thought, maybe they missed me. I didn't reply. I just stared at him, the man who had once been my brother, now a ghost with my face and none of my heart. He turned and walked away, leaving silence in his wake. That night, I told Elena everything. She was shaken. Angry. He can't just hover around like that. I know, I said. But we're going to do this right. No fear. Just boundaries. We installed a camera at the front door. I let the school know about the situation. And I sat the kids down gently, explaining that Uncle Travis wasn't going to be visiting anymore. But why? Lily asked. He was so fun. I hesitated. Then told her the truth, in words she could understand. Sometimes, even people we love make choices that hurt others. And when that happens, the best thing we can do is protect the people we care about. She nodded slowly. Owen asked, does that mean he's bad? No, I said. It means he's lost. And right now, we can't help him. A week passed. Then 2. No more sightings. No more messages. Life crept back toward normal, school runs, family dinners, warm Saturdays in the backyard. One night, Elena came up behind me on the porch. You okay? Yeah, I said. I feel like I'm still waiting for something. She wrapped her arms around me. You're not. You're here. And so are we. And maybe that was the truth I needed. Some people leave damage instead of footprints. Some houses have to be reclaimed, room by room, after betrayal leaks through the cracks. But we were rebuilding. Not just our home, but trust, love, clarity. And if Travis ever came back again, he'd find the door locked. Not out of hate. But because we had finally learned to protect what was ours. 2 months passed. Travis hadn't come back. The messages stopped. The silence returned, and this time, it felt like peace. But peace, I learned, isn't the absence of trouble. It's the decision to choose what, and who, is worth fighting for. Elena and I were different now. Not strangers. Not perfect. But more honest. There were fewer assumptions, more check-ins. More small gestures, a hand on the back during breakfast, a shared smile while folding laundry, the way she leaned into me again without hesitation. The kids adjusted too. Lily stopped asking about Uncle Travis. Owen still mentioned him in passing, like a cartoon character from a show that got cancelled. Remember when Travis made pancakes with gummy bears? But the sting was gone. Still, I kept the security camera up. Just in case. It was a Sunday morning when the final echo came. I opened the mailbox and found a letter. No return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Travis's handwriting. You were always the stable one. The safe one. I thought I could be like you if I lived in your house, wore your clothes, played your part. But the truth is, I never knew how to earn what you had, only how to reach for it. I get it now. And I'm done reaching. Take care of them, Marcus. I'll stay gone this time. T. I read the letter 3 times. It didn't feel like a threat. It didn't even feel like guilt. Just closure. I didn't show it to Elena. Not right away. I burned it in the fireplace that night, watching the edges curl, the ink fade. Some things aren't meant to be kept. Only understood, and released. That spring, we built a new garden in the backyard. The kids picked the flowers. Elena painted plant markers with their names. We spent weekends outside, digging, planting, laughing in the sunlight. Every now and then, I'd sit on the porch and remember. Not with anger. Not with bitterness. But with clarity. I'd let my brother into my house out of love. I didn't regret that. But I also learned, love doesn't mean surrender. And family, while important, doesn't excuse destruction. I protected my home. Not just the walls and roof, but the people inside. My place. My role. Myself. And maybe that was the real lesson. It's not about keeping people out. It's about choosing, every single day, who gets to stay. One night, after the kids went to bed, Elena curled into my chest and whispered, "You feel like home again." I kissed her hair. So do you. And with the windows open, the house quiet, and the air warm with spring, I finally allowed myself to believe it. He was gone. We were still here. And we had never been stronger.